newclevelandradio.net. It is time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn and his sidekick, John DiNallo. Now, I have to tell you a little bit about today's announcement. It's time to have some fun, so stop what you're doing and listen to Paul and John. However, I can't tell you what either one of them are going to talk about because they didn't show up at rehearsal this morning. And there was no script given to me, and I'm the producer. What am I supposed to do? If I fire them, then there's no show, and then there's no audience. So hang in there, everybody. And Paul, what the heck are we talking about today?
Wow. Oh, man, I didn't realize I was going to get attitude as soon as I walked in the door.
We got blindsided, Paul, from Karen today, which is not normal, or not usual,
wow,
I should say.
That's what I say. What in the world is going on here? Hey, everybody. I'll catch up faster. I apologize for being so late getting the information out. That's because it took me a while to get the information out. I have no excuse. We'll try better next time. It's been a long time since all three of us have been at rehearsal, Karen. So you know that.
That's true. That's true.
Oh, that's very true.
Exactly. So anyway, thank you so much for everybody for joining us. We are What in the World, everybody's favorite weird news podcast. Real news, sometimes weird, always funny. That's our motto. I'm Paul Seaburn, your host. Thank you, Drew, so much for joining us wherever you're joining us from. If you're coming to us through Facebook, thank you. If you're coming through newclevelandradio.net, our platform, or Spotify, or YouTube, or Cleveland 13 News, thank you so much for all those places. And anybody new, especially, please, thank you so much for joining us. If you're joining us live, if you're joining us in the future, I hope we're still around then. Thank you for listening then. We are What in the World? Let's see. Introduce myself in case you haven't been on the show. Up until recently, I was the editor and head writer at Mysterious Universe, where a lot of you got to know me and all the weird stories that I publish over there. I'm also a comedy writer. I worked for the Tonight Show for a while, writing for Jay Leno. So that's where the comedy and strange news kind of merged together, and they became What in the World. And we've been doing this show for 9 years now, Karen. 9 years. Yeah, that's pretty unique in the podcasting world. So
it's almost like being married to you.
Oh, no, that's a completely different show, Karen.
Okay.
That's a different show, different location, different time, probably different universe too.
Probably.
Okay, so let's introduce everybody else. The first voice you heard in your ear is Karen Hale, our producer, co-host, and media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, our platform. Visit Karen there, find out more about our podcast, all the other great podcasts that Karen produces and hosts as well. Also find out about her coaching service, Yes I Can Coaching, which is also one of our sponsors. Find out a little bit about Cleveland 13 News, our partner in What in the World. And I don't know what else. She's got all kind of stuff there. So check it all out. Some of the other sponsors that we have. The other voice you've been hearing in your other ear is John DiNallo, our co-host, color commentator, host of What in the World of Sports, my old buddy from college. Hi, John. How are you doing today?
Paul, doing real well. We're down in Florida still for the last week and enjoying the weather and looking forward to having an outstanding show.
Great. Yeah, we're going to get right to it with that. Since nobody knows what we're going to be talking about, I'm not sure either. That's why I have a script.
I don't.
For more information about, at least about me, you can, and about Karen and about the show, visit us on Facebook. Just put one of our names in there and all that information will come up. I have a website, paulseaburn.com. You can find out more about me, find out about our other sponsor, my book, What Would You Say to a Naked Space Alien, also available on Amazon. Just Google us, it's be prepared because there's some weird stuff out there, but normally nothing that you can't look at work. Let's put it that way. So what are
That's a
we
pretty
talking
safe.
about
That's a pretty
today?
safe statement, Paul. That's
There
a
you
safe
go,
Yes,
statement.
John.
it is.
Especially you. I mean, yeah, you're Mr. Clean for our show. You're a shining example of what we all should aspire to be. Uh,
Oh, I don't know about that.
okay, so what are we talking about today? Let's see. It's 3:30. It's a little past 3:30 by now. Eastern Daylight Time. We're in Northeast Ohio, so that puts you in gives you some perspective where we're at. Um, Underground marathons in Scandinavia. We'll be talking about that, and also some dairy-loving runners in Oregon. So we got a couple of running marathon, long distance kind of stories there. A blue man who is not in a group, but he's in England. So we're going to hear about the blue man. Why is he blue? What's going on there? We'll find out. A dangerous place to walk while texting in Cleveland, Ohio. So we've got a couple of local stories. Yeah, that's a good one for our locals. Corn snacks for the rich and also for the naked. And again, this is a family show, so don't worry. It's family oriented. We do have photos that go along with these stories. There will be no naked people in the story, so just so everybody knows. But it's a fun story about corn snacks, the rich, and the naked. Listen in. Yeah. sounds like a reality show we're
Yes,
doing.
it does.
Yeah. Sports wise, we've got BigFoot playing baseball, also in Ohio. So another sport. This kind of goes. This is kind of a follow up to the major story we had over the past couple of weeks in Northeast Ohio. 8 Bigfoot sightings over 5 days, right down the road from where all three of us live. So everybody's been out looking for Bigfoot. There hasn't been a sighting in a while. Otherwise, we talk about it and bring you up to speed on it. So we're not sure where Bigfoot went. He may be laying low until spring training is over and the Guardians come back to Cleveland and he'll be at opening day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, everyone. Stay tuned.
There you go. So and John's got we've got some trivia. We always have some trivia. We've got some more strange news. We've got John's got a great strange sport for us, and then we play everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the co-host. So you want to stick around for that. But let's get started. Karen's been waiting. She has no idea what we're going to talk about, so we're going to start with the running story. So people who know me know that I've been a runner for years. I was a runner up until I had knee surgery a couple years ago. I've done a few marathons, so I like these running stories. I know how boring the long runs can be. But running a marathon, 26 miles is one of the most boring things you can do. But training for one is even more boring because you're doing all those miles with nobody cheering you, nobody handing you water or Vaseline to rub on you or anything like that. So what I ended up doing was singing the same song over and over again, and then it gets stuck in your head. I I started sounding like Ringo Starr because the song I always got stuck in my head was Yellow Submarine. It just happened to be a good for a slow runner like me. But boy, I started sounding like Ringo. You don't want that. So I tried other things. I tried counting telephone poles, see if that would help. I counted fire hydrants. That didn't help. I counted people who gave me the finger. There were a lot of those, especially when I lived in Houston. But I've never tried what this next couple does. Now, this couple is in Oregon, which is a hotbed of running in the United States. And let's see, what do we got here? There's our logo. Here's a picture of my book. What would you say to a naked space alien? And I'll bring up the picture of our couple in just a second. So the lady in the couple, her name is Libby Cope. She's in Oregon. She's also an outdoors writer, and I found her article in Runner's World. That's where this came from. She said she and her boyfriend pass the time on their training runs every day. They run together. What they do, here's how they pass the time. They take heavy cream and they pour it into a baggie, one of those heavy duty baggies, and then they double seal it. They pour some salt in there too. They double bag it, and then they put the bag inside their backpack, which they then put on their back, and they do their daily runs. When they return, what they have is a baggie full of butter. So they run long enough and they generate enough vibration, I guess, that they become human churns and they end up with a bag of butter in their backpack.
How do they
That's
figure
amazing.
this out?
Isn't that wild? I went so they and then they spread it on their toast. When they get home, they spread it on their toast. Not on their toes, not on their toes. That's what Vaseline is for. They spread it on their toast. So they made a video of them doing this because apparently their friends thought it was such a cool idea. Their video has been seen by 10 million people on Instagram.
Wow. Wow.
Including a person who actually tried to do it. And in a race, they did it in a race. And the person said that they got a personal record in the race because of all the wild dogs chasing after them because they smelled the butter. So there's no way.
Wow.
That would be me. That would be me. You know, I'd smell like butter for a week after that. So believe it or not, they, you know, people were saying, "Oh, that can't be healthy." They talked to the Center for Dairy Research. Who knew? Who said that it was perfectly safe. It's the same as shaking the cream in a butter churn, which is basically what you're doing in a butter churn. You know, I think if you run stairs and bounce up and down, I think you can make the butter even faster than they did just on running flat on flat. Although Oregon, the hilly, yeah. They did say it's best to do it on a cold day because, you know, you end up with cold butter unless you're having lobster for lunch, and then you'll have some nice melted butter for your lobster. But lobster for breakfast. Although, you know, that sounds funny, and there's probably people who have lobster for breakfast. We're in Cleveland, Ohio, and there's a new restaurant called the Pierogi Place, and they serve breakfast, and they have pierogi. They have breakfast pierogies. They also have breakfast kielbasa, which kielbasa and eggs I can handle. Breakfast pierogies, I don't know, John. Does that sound appealing to you?
I don't know. Never had breakfast pierogies. I like pierogies a lot, but I don't know if I never had it for breakfast.
I don't know how they do it. You know, if they put them in a bowl and slice bananas and
try to turn it into a breakfast food. I don't know how that works, guys.
The breakfast of Polish champion. That's what that is.
There you go. There you go.
So they did say that, now going back to Libby, that you have to use a backpack. You have to, or a chest pack. You know, I forget what they call them. You know, in the front, you can't use a fanny pack because if you put the cream in a fanny pack, what you end up with is Asiago cheese.
Oh boy, you gotta get the horn out for that one.
I'm sorry. Yeah, there's our first pun of the day for those of you keeping score at home. Okay, so believe it or not, I tried this. Now I'm not a runner anymore. I'm a speed walker, but I'm obviously not speedy enough to make butter. When I got home, what I had was a bag full of something that I think was, I can't believe it's not butter.
There we go.
Yeah, kind of not very good, John. Not something that we'd spread on anything. So
got it.
Anyway, so while we're on the subject of running, I have our other story here, and this one's from Sweden. So Garpenberg, Sweden. I have no idea where that is. We don't have our globe anymore, John. We need to
no. Well, kind of, we have the globe with your photo, but that's not the same.
But that's true, yeah. But we can't spin it. So anyway,
no, we cannot.
Believe it or not, there's a mine, a zinc mine in Garpensburg, and recently 55 runners from 18 countries went 3,500 feet down into the mine and set a Guinness World Record for the deepest marathon. They ran a complete 26.2-mile marathon in this mine, 3,669 feet below ground. The only race in the world where you're considered to be batty both before and after the race.
Yeah, it kind of goes with that, sure.
Isn't that wild, John?
It is wild. Oh my gosh.
So there's a picture of the start and the finish. Here they are running through the tunnels of the mine. It was an 11 loop course, so they spun around 11 times. After they came out, the finishers said they were both blinded by the light and leaning to the right. After doing that so many times,
Sure.
the runners had to wear headlamps because they didn't have light everywhere. Also, so they could see the holes in the ground, and also the signs that said duck, because
yeah,
we're in a mine. I can't believe this. So one of the competitors, they had reporters down there, sports reporters. One of them told a reporter that, and I quote, "It's hot, it's humid, it's a bit dusty, but we're good." Which just it's same thing my wife said about the roast chicken I made last week. Humid, a bit dusty, but it's good. So this was a zinc mine. So that means they spent hours. I think the slowest time was 7 hours breathing zinc dust. So they're protected against the cold for at least a year now.
Right. Yeah. Kind of makes
zinc.
sense.
That's the stuff. Zinc and vitamin C, but I don't think you can run in a vitamin C mine. They had no fans to cheer them on. All they did have some cutouts of Batman and Robin to make them feel like they were in a cave. That's about it. Imagine how much butter they could have churned while they were running around.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Isn't that wild about running a marathon but I speak for myself. Marathoners are a strange bunch, to be able to waste so many hours running, sometimes not seeing any people, sometimes running by yourself. It takes a different kind of person, different, like, people who like weird news. That's me. But to run in a mine 3,000 feet below the surface of the earth, the surface of the ground, that's beyond me. That does not appeal to me at all. I'm not even going to ask if it appeals to you, John.
No, well, I just think it's a real challenge. But I'm wondering, Paul, was it ever attempted before? Just this recent marathon?
I believe it was because the Guinness people, I think the Guinness write-up that I read said that they broke the record. So the record is for the most people running it. So
sure, okay.
Maybe they had I don't know what, how Guinness is. The fastest marathon underground, fastest marathon underground wearing a Barney costume or something like that. They've got records for everything. So at some point, everyone in the world will have their own world record if we keep going this way. So now, my favorite story of the week. This was a big hit on Facebook. For those of you out there, I do like to I test out some of our stories on Facebook during the week, so you can kind of get a jump on the show. And this was a very popular show. So I'm popular post on Facebook. I hope you like it on our podcast. So this guy's name is Tommy Lynch, Lynch. He lives in Derbyshire, England. Poor Tommy woke up in the morning one day recently and decided he better go to the emergency room. Why? Because he woke up and his entire body had turned blue. Now, that's a picture of Tony's hand next to Tommy's hand next to somebody else's hand. So you can see how blue his skin is. I don't have photos of his entire body, but I do have photos of, here's his stomach. So still blue there. We'll talk about why it's kind of fading. So he goes to the emergency room, and you can see the emergency room. One of the first things they did was they gave him oxygen because they thought he was blue from a lack of oxygen. Then they ran a bunch of other tests on him. They couldn't figure out what it was. So one of the doctors decided to give him a shot of something. I don't know, some kind of antibiotic. And they took one of their swabs out and they swabbed his arm. And then they looked at the swab, and the swab had turned blue. This is a clue, right? It turns out they asked him if he did anything new when he was at home. And he says, well, I just got these new sheets. They're blue. I put them on my bed, and I hadn't washed them yet. You think that could be it?
Oh my God.
So every woman I told that story to said, he's obviously single because women don't do that. They know you get new sheets, you get new anything you put on the bed. The first thing you do is you wash it and then
Right.
you put it on the bed. I what it's a good thing he didn't wear red pajamas because he'd have red and blue. He turned purple. He'd be like, the artist formerly known as Prince.
Oh my.
So that's why he turned blue. So fortunately, he was covered by Blue Man Group Insurance, so he didn't have.
Go figure that, right?
Sorry about that, John. So the took him a week to wash all of the blue off of his skin. He washed every day, showered. It just it was a tough dye that penetrated his skin, and then it took another week for him to convince all the little kids in the neighborhood that he really wasn't Papa Smurf. He was just a dumb guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could see that.
In Cleveland, I was thinking about this. In Cleveland, he would have been swamped by people who thought that he was the next coming of Goulardi. Turn blue, you purple kniff. Now,
Oh yeah, right, sure.
that's a joke only Clevelanders will get, and I'm not going to try it and make an attempt to explain it to everybody else out there.
That's good. That's
But,
good thinking, Paul. That's good
yeah,
thinking there.
look up Google Goulardi. There's a nice alliteration there, and you'll find out all about it. So his friends are mocking him. He's mocking him to death. Every time they see him, they start singing "Song Sung Blue," which means that it's time for some trivia. So John's my trivia buddy here. John, "Song Sung Blue." Whose song is that?
Oh, Neil Diamond.
Neil Diamond. Okay, that's the easy one for you. Let's try some other blues songs here that he could also have stuck in his head. How about this one? Blue Suede Shoes.
Elvis Presley.
Elvis Presley, but who originally recorded it and
Oh
wrote
yeah,
it?
yeah, yes, I know. Jerry
Karen?
Lee Lewis. Jerry Lee Lewis.
Nope.
No.
Karen?
Really?
No. Carl Perkins.
Carl Perkins. Okay.
Carl Perkins, the original Blue Suede Shoes. Okay, how about this one? Blue Bayou or Blue Bayou.
Linda Ronstadt.
Linda Ronstadt, who originally recorded it and wrote the song. I remember this from, I used to hear it in Texas all the time.
Yeah. I knew this at one time. I can't tell you.
I hear everybody listening to the show is screaming, Roy Orbison. Roy Orbison,
okay.
the original, written by him. Okay, how about this one? Behind Blue Eyes.
Oh, The Who.
The Who. Yeah, Roger Daltrey. Or no, Pete Townsend wrote that one. Okay, here's a tough one. Going back a ways. Crystal Blue Persuasion.
I got this one, and I have a side note on it. So the song was done by Tommy James and the Shondells.
Correct.
And back in the day, the first concert I ever went to was Tommy James and the Shondells, Paul, at your high school, Padua High School in Parma, Ohio.
John, that's right. That was my first concert, and we were both there at the same time. We didn't know each other at the time. We ended up.
No, not right.
In fact, I believe, John, that may have been we may have been in 8th grade at the time. I'm not sure that we were even in high school back.
Oh, you're right. I mean, it's probably maybe freshman year in high school, if that. But yeah, right.
Okay, here's a tough one. Blue Moon. Who wrote the original version of Blue Moon? And I'll give you a hint. It was written in 1934.
Oh my! Wow.
Yeah.
I think I have someone who did a version of it, but not in 34. Something tells me the Marcells did that song.
Okay, that's the answer to the next question. So keep that one in mind.
Okay.
If you watch the Oscars, you would have gotten a hint as to who wrote this song. It was written by Richard Rodgers and Lorenz Hart. And Lorenz Hart, And there was a song, I mean, there was a movie called Blue Moon that was up for the Oscar, for an Oscar this year. What's his name? Ethan Hawke was up for, I think, best actor, and the screenwriter, I believe, was up for best adapted screenplay, something like that. Written by Richard Rodgers and Lorenz Hart, first recorded not by the Marcells, but recorded in 1934 by Ted Fiorito and Muzzy Marcelino.
Sounds like some Italian guys.
Couple Italian guys, that's right. Yeah. Hey, we'll sing it for you. So Elvis Presley sang it in 1954 as well. It was one of his crossover songs. And then the doo-wop group, you said it, the Marcells, 1961. And John, we also saw another band play this song when we were freshmen in college. Do you remember the name of that band?
Sha-na-na?
There you go, Sha-na-na. That's right. That was the first concert, one of the first concerts at John Carroll when we were freshmen. Okay, all right. We bored you enough with trivia out there. Let's get back to a story. But congratulations if anybody out there got all of those right. Those were tough questions. Okay, robots. Everybody's talking about robots taking over. Maybe they're not. Let's see. There was a story from the Shanghai Science and Technology Museum in Shanghai, of course, where a humanoid robot was on display and people were giving it instructions on what to do. And it was following the instructions and doing all kind of things. And then all of a sudden it tripped. And when it tripped, it fell over. And when it hit the ground, it broke into a million pieces.
Oh, no.
You can see the picture of the robot going down, and then on the ground there's just pieces of robot everywhere. It's a robot apocalypse. It's awful. Poor robot. So the good news is that artificial intelligence has perfected embarrassment, because obviously the robot was so ashamed that it couldn't.
Wow.
The crowd went wild. So robots obviously have a future in comedy if they can, at least in physical comedy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you know how this happened? Somebody in the crowd asked the robot to do an impression of a Browns quarterback.
Okay.
All right.
There's our Cleveland joke for the day. The award for best performance by a robot after this happened went to the Roomba, who came in and cleaned the whole thing up. So good. At least the robot vacuum cleaners are still doing well. I don't think they.
No. My Roomba does not clean up very well.
No. Did you ever have to fall down the stairs, Karen?
Oh, I don't let him go upstairs.
Don't let him. I was trying to remember. I don't think ours in the house we have here, the carpeting ended before the stairs began, so there was some linoleum or tile, and the Roomba was trained not to go on the tile and the floor, so he never made it. I assume it's a he made it. Scared. Why would I assume? Why not a she? I don't want to sound.
Because it doesn't take directions well.
I'm staying out of this one.
Are you sure you didn't have a copy of this script, Karen? People in the audience made fun of the robot, as we humans would do. They mocked it. They said, what did they say? Have a nice trip, which is fine for a person, John, but not for a robot. We need jokes and insults that are designed for a robot. So
yeah, right. Different than it would be for a person, obviously.
Yeah. I actually went to artificial intelligence, to ChatGPT, and I said, give me some jokes, give me some insults to say to a robot that falls over. And here's the best one it came up with. Did you slip on a robot banana?
Oh.
Yeah. Obviously, artificial intelligence is nowhere near. Robots are not taking over. AI is not taking over. Don't worry. We're in good shape. Okay. So speaking of growing up and going to concerts together. John and I grew up in Parma, Ohio. We've talked about this a number of times. We managed to survive all of the insults. You know, we both wore, everybody in Cleveland, in Parma wore white socks. Everybody in Parma had a pink flamingo in their front yard. We survived all the jokes about all that as well. I don't know if we could survive in Parma as a kid today, and I'm going to explain why. So Parma is a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio, a nice big suburb, one of the largest cities in the state of Ohio. The city is making plans to take responsibility from homeowners and start repairing sidewalks themselves. So up until now, it was the responsibility of a homeowner to repair their sidewalk. Now, why is this a big deal? Because the sidewalks are atrocious. They're broken up. This one here from Parma looks like an earthquake hit Parma.
Oh my God.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, the sidewalks are just broken up. There's holes all over the place. You know it's a problem when the neighborhood kids use the uneven sidewalks to practice their rock climbing. That's how that's how bad it is. It's so bad in some Parma neighborhoods. If you see a person standing on one leg, they may not be doing their flamingo impression. They may be standing on an uneven sidewalk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's so bad, John. Parma is the only Cleveland suburb where people will fall down before going into the bar. That's
Tripping before they get there. I see.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, trip and fall over flat on your face. Oh man, now for sure you need a beer. You know, I've driven through Parma, you know, visiting relatives. NASA should use these sidewalks for moonwalk training. That's how bad.
That's an idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good. It's good that the city is taking over. The first thing that everybody says when you start talking about sidewalks is that famous saying we all said when we were kids: "Step on a crack, break your mother's back." A time that I'm not going to ask you where it came from because it's too obscure. I had to look it up. That is from a 19th century American superstition, originated in the United States, rooted in both African and European folklore, where sidewalk cracks were considered to be supernatural portals to another dimension. I had no idea.
I never knew that. Wow.
Yeah. So if you didn't break your mother's back, you ended up going to where Bigfoot lives, I guess. I don't know.
Oh boy.
So the rhyme about bad luck, the first appearance of it was in 1905. That's the earliest they could track it. And it was designed to scare kids into walking carefully when they're walking around the neighborhood. In Parma, obviously, I think I have another picture of a crack here. Here's another one. You step off a crack, you may never come back. That's the
Oh boy.
So how are they going to fix this? John, how would you fix these cracks?
Well, I have no idea. I mean, I have no idea whatsoever. I don't know. What do you think, Paul and Karen?
Yeah, I thought that they'd have, some heavy duty equipment and they'd get underneath it and lift it up or maybe remove them and put new sidewalks in. But oh no, what they did was they invested in a grinder. A grinder, $10,000 grinder. And what they're going to do is they're going to grind down the corners and smooth the sidewalks out. Yeah, that'll last a day. That
doesn't sound like a good idea.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It sounds like a Parma idea, unfortunately. That's what I think it is.
Wow.
I would get some giant moles. You get those moles that burrow in your yard. Maybe get some moles that grew up by a nuclear power plant, and they're nice, nice and big. Capture them and have them burrow underneath these sidewalks and push them up. I think that would work better than these grinders.
There's these guys on TV that advertise that they can level your concrete with just like putting holes in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you drill a hole in it. You put it's like those screw anchors that you screw into the wall to hold a picture. Yeah. Oh, I think that would work great, Karen. It's probably more expensive than a $10,000 grinder. that they figured, would never wear out.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Sorry. I'm sorry. If anybody from the city of Parma government is listening to the show, I apologize. But it's a dumb idea. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't live there anymore, but I do. I pay tax, plenty of sales tax in Parma. So do you, John. Yeah, that's right. That's where we get all of our pierogies, our kielbasi, our bakery.
Oh, sure.
Okay, back to I mentioned we were talking about the running story. Boring things to do while you're running. One of the things I would do is count your steps. Very boring. But I'm going to start doing it again because it turns out counting can set a Guinness World Record. Believe it or not, a woman in Nigeria, here's a picture of the lady, by the way. Woman in Nigeria set a new Guinness World Record for the highest number counted out loud. Highest number counted out loud. Okay, she counted all of them before it too. When she counted out loud 14 hours a day for 70 days straight, reaching her final number of 1,070,000. So she started at 1 and 70 days later was at 1,070,000. And there, John, she actually did break someone else's record.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. Somebody else had counted up.
Why?
Is that why? To get into to be covered on What in the World, Karen. Everybody wants to get on What in the World. You know that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I can think of so many more important things to do in life.
Oh, well, the previous record, by the way, was by a professional counter. It was a guy who worked at the Franklin Mint counting pennies, and he lost his job. He doesn't count pennies anymore. So she's not even counting pennies. I didn't even know what she does for a living, but she live streamed her counting on YouTube. So, and there were people, she's on the OCD channel, people, not only is she OCD, but people watched her for 14 hours a day doing nothing but counting, probably counting along with her, I'm sure. So the record, so it had to be verified by Guinness, and which means that the record was immediately tied by the judge who went through every video and counted with her until he got to 1,070,000 to make sure she got the record.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he should have went one more, but then somebody would have had to verify him. And who got that kind of time, right, Karen?
You got it. Oh my God.
Now, I'm not saying she counted on her fingers, but the first thing she did when she was done was she went to get her nails done. So, so here's what she said, Karen, in answer to your question. She says, honestly, it was tough, but my passion for counting kept me going.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. This is the kind of person that you don't want to be on a long car ride.
No.
She's going to count every cow that you see, every dog, every telephone pole, every fire hydrant. And she actually had people cheering her on. People with even more time on their hand would come and cheer as she counted out loud.
Wow.
That's a true friend. That beat the person who helps you move your apartment on a weekend.
Yeah.
People who will come and count with you while you're trying to set a record of counting, God only knows, up to 1 million. Okay. All right, John, are you a Cheetos fan?
Yes, I am.
I thought so. I thought you were. Karen, are you a Cheetos fan?
No, I don't like orange fingers.
Oh, one of the drawbacks. It's like the blue guy. You end up being the orange lady. What's your favorite flavor, John?
I like the hard ones, not the crunchy, the crunchy Cheetos.
Yeah, I'm a traditionalist. I like the puffy ones, the old-fashioned puffy. Yeah. Okay. So reminds me. Anyway, so we're not talking about eating them, okay? So you're not going to get hungry here, but we're talking about buying Cheetos. Believe it or not, another Guinness World Record here. The Guinness World Record for the highest price paid for a corn snack that looks like a video game player, okay? So the highest price paid for a corn snack that looks like something from a video game goes to the Cheeto-Zard. There's a picture of it here. The Cheeto-Zard. I'll explain where that name comes from. It's a flaming hot Cheeto shaped like the Pokemon character Charizard. And I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. I don't care. I never played Pokemon. But this Cheeto-Zard just sold at an auction, John, Mr. Collector, $87,840.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
For a cheese doodle, a cheese puff, a cheese thing. Yeah, yeah. As soon as I heard that, I could hear my dad's voice in my head as I'm munching on a bag of cheese doodles. Put those down. There might be a new car in there. You know, give me that bag. See if there's any.
So here's my question. So
yeah,
over time, won't it just disintegrate? I mean,
well, no, John, it's in plastic.
I see it's in plastic. I see that, but oh my gosh, I don't know.
Yeah, of course it'll disintegrate, or somebody will eat it. That's even worse.
And by the way, it's pronounced Charizard.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that?
Yes.
Wow, Charizard.
Charizard. It just asked me because my son has collected everything Pokemon.
Oh,
Okay.
really? Oh, well then, yeah, he might be interested in this.
Yeah, he better not be.
Yeah. So the auctioneer at this, he was impressed that somebody paid $87,000 for this. He says, part of what makes this item so fun and unique is that it bridges two fandoms, Pokemon and Cheetos. Also, two more fandoms, stupidity and people who have too much money.
Yeah, exactly.
So Cheetos, a little bit of trivia here, were invented in 1948 by the guy who invented Fritos. He worked at the Frito company. He invented Fritos, and then he invented Cheetos. The first one was Crunchy Cheetos. I thought Puffies were the original, but Crunchy came first, and then the Puffies. 1948. The Crunchy Cheetos were the sole product of the company until for 23 years, until they came out with the cheese puffs in 1971. I thought that they existed before that, but they did, but they weren't Cheetos. That was the explanation. They make them in a pressure cooker. All it is corn, flour, corn, maize, and water, and they make them into those little worms, and then they put them in a pressure cooker, and that's what puffs them up, and the steam puffs them up, and then they dry them out and put them in, and then they coat them with the cheese dust, and which is secret recipe,
Yeah.
You can't find anything out about that. Now, as I'm doing research on Cheetos, I find out that there's a new flavor. Get ready for this. It's called Cheetos NKD, which stands for Cheetos Naked. Simple naked Cheetos. That means that they don't have any artificial stuff in them at all, and that includes the color. So the color of the orange Cheetos and the hot Cheetos and is all natural on these naked Cheetos, and they also make naked Doritos. I didn't even realize that. This is. Does that appeal to you, John?
I'm not sure. I don't know if I think I would try it, but
let me explain. You don't have to be naked when you eat them, or
I understand that. It's a little bit of a play
not when
on
you
words. It's a play on words or play on letters. NKD, obviously.
Believe it or not, though, here's a picture of a couple who misunderstood it. There they are, sitting there naked, eating their. Now, before anybody gets upset, listening on, they're covered. It's implied that they're naked. However, if you do have naked pictures of yourself eating these naked Cheetos, please send them to me on Facebook. I'm kidding. Send them to John.
No, I don't want those. What am I going to do with them?
Luckily, he's not on Facebook.
There you go.
Yeah,
he's not on Facebook, so I knew I was safe there. Okay, so one more thing. Do you know if you need more proof that Bigfoot that Northeast Ohio is not the world headquarters of Bigfoot sightings, this is going to help out here. So we talked about the Bigfoot sighting. We talked about the Bigfoot musical in New York, and there's also one in Chagrin Falls. Wait till you hear this. Now we have, John, Bigfoot baseball. Bigfoot.
Never heard of it. Wow.
Oh, wait. This is in Northeast Ohio. The minor league team in Mahoning Valley, known as the Mahoning Valley Scrappers. They're like Class A, so they're way down at in the low end of the minor leagues. They announced that they will be changing their name for one day only to the Mahoning Valley Grassmen. Now, listeners to our show, and I know John knows this and Karen as well, because we talked about it enough time. The Bigfoot that is native to Ohio is called the Grassman, because the Native Americans, when they saw this Bigfoot, the reason they discovered it after finding nest and small living areas made out of the long grass that grows in Ohio. So that's why our Bigfoot is called the Grassman. So on Thursday, June 11th, the Mahoning Valley team will be called the Grassmen. They will take the field wearing a limited edition jersey. You can see the jersey there. Here's some T-shirts here. Here's some hats. Fans can purchase the hats and the T-shirts online. Just look up the Mahoning Valley Scrappers. They have a website. You can get all that good stuff. They haven't made the playoffs in a while. The Scrappers haven't. So they're hoping that by doing this, that maybe one of those Bigfoot that's wandering around Northeast Ohio might show up for the game. They can draft him because now they're the Grassmen. Put a shirt on him. You know, if he's got 8 foot long arms, you know, they'll have him pitch a few innings maybe. Can you believe that? There's actually that's their promotion. They're calling themselves the Mahoning Valley Grassmen. And I found out about it too late, but there's also a baseball team in Iowa that has changed their name to the Sasquatch. So I'll talk about them next week.
Okay. Wow.
John, there's a new hat for you.
Yeah, really. Wow. Never saw one like that before.
All right. So we brought everything together here, kind of a harmonic convergence. We brought the weird stories and the Bigfoot stories and sports all into one spot, which means it's time for What in the World of Sports with my old buddy John DiNallo. Regular listeners know that John and I, you've already heard on the show, we met in college. We're fraternity brothers. We've been friends ever since. John knows more about sports and trivia than anybody I know, so I depend on him to help us out in that area on the show. And in particular, I ask him every week, John, come up with a sport that fits our motto: real sport, sometimes weird, always funny. And everybody knows John comes up with one every week. He's got a great one this week. If you're listening to us and not watching on YouTube, I suggest that when you're done to at least look at this segment on YouTube, because we've got some great photos that go along with it. So, John, tell us what your sport is.
Yeah, I will, Paul. Thanks for the introduction. So our sport this week is extreme ironing. And just to make certain that we know what it is, it's extreme ironing. It's also called EI. It's an extreme sport in which people take ironing boards to extreme locations and they iron various items of clothing. Now, Karen, this is for you. There is the Extreme Ironing Bureau, and according to the Bureau, extreme ironing is the latest danger sport that combines the thrill of an outdoor activity with the satisfaction of a well-pressed shirt. As for history, some purists of the sport claim that it was started in 1997 in Leicester, England, by resident Phil Shaw in his backyard garden. Shaw came home from what he calls a hard day in the Leicester knitwear factory. He had a number of chores to do, including ironing his shirts. So, preferring the idea of an evening out rock climbing, which is what he would have preferred to do, he decided to combine the two activities into a new extreme sport, and it's taken on. In June 1999, Shaw, who uses the nickname Steam, embarked on an international tour to promote the sport, and an encounter with German tourists in New Zealand led to the formation of a group called Extreme Ironing International and the German Extreme Ironing Section, or the GEIS. The sport gained international attention in 2003 after a documentary entitled Extreme Ironing Pressing for Victory on Britain's Channel 4. The program followed the British team's efforts and eventual bronze and gold placing in the first Extreme Ironing Championships that were held in Germany. Now, for those interested in knowing the details about categories, there are 4 categories. One is urban, which is involved ironing in, on, or around a broken down car. There is water, which is a fast flowing river, was the location for this specific category. Competitors could use surfboards, canoes, or rubber rings to help them. The forest category, which is ironing at the top of a tree, and it did not suit all of the competitors, so to speak. The Lauda, which is a purpose-built climbing wall, which ironists had to climb and iron a t-shirt on. And then the last would be freestyle, which is the section where, as you can imagine, anything goes. Now, there are many examples of extreme ironing. Some locations where performances have taken place include a mountainside of a very difficult climb, a forest, in a canoe, while skiing or snowboarding, on top of a large bronze statue, in the middle of a street, underwater, as you saw there with that one photo, while parachuting, and finally under the ice sheet of a frozen lake.
Wow.
The performances have been conducted solo or by organized groups. Now, a branch of ironing has been developed that includes both bungee jumping and well-pressed clothing. Bungee
Oh,
ironing is what some would call the ultimate in the thrill of extreme ironing. Another group, called Urban Housework, is trying to establish their own extreme sport around vacuum cleaning. And extreme ironing has inspired other forms of unusual extreme activity, such as extreme cello playing.
oh,
Now, for the most unusual locations so far and world records, in 2003, John Roberts and Ben Gibbons from Cheltenham, Gloucester, and Christopher Allen Jousey from Newcastle, Whitley Bay, ironed a Union Jack just above the Mount Everest base camp. This is believed to be the world altitude record for the sport. The reported height was 5,440 meters, or 17,850 feet above sea level. Then in 2004, the EIB traveled to the US and ironed at Mount Rushmore, at New York City, Boston, and Devil's Tower in Wyoming, all those different locations. In March of 2008, a team of 72 divers simultaneously ironing underwater set a new world record for the number of divers ironing at one time, 72. On January 10, 2009, 128 divers, including 6 free divers, broke the previous world record, managing to confirm 86 divers ironing within a 10-minute period. On June 16, 2018, a free diver, Roland Piccoli, ironed a t-shirt at a depth of 42 meters, 138 feet in the world's deepest pool in Montegrotto, Italy. Finally, in 2012, extreme ironing pioneer Phil Steam Shaw, as you remember, we spoke of him in the beginning, came out of retirement to take on a new challenge and run the Hastings Half Marathon in March, wearing an ironing board, pressing clothes along the way.
wow.
Whoa.
Now, I mean, by all definitions, I mean, how extreme can you be? But it's
Yeah.
amazing I mean, the
Yeah,
situations, or the circumstances that these people are competing in, right? To make
yeah.
sure that they can iron. And I'm also wondering, which I was not able to find from my research, is when they do all this ironing of this clothing, do they wear the clothing? I mean, I'm just curious about that. I mean,
Oh,
after they do that, I mean, do they
good
actually,
point.
use it
Well,
in their wardrobes?
where does the iron get the electricity from for the heat?
Oh, good
Darren,
one.
that's a great question.
Solar powered
Solar. No, I don't know. I have not. I really don't
battery.
know.
Solar
Yeah.
power.
Maybe they
I
just do it with
mean,
a cold iron. Maybe they're just doing it with cold irons.
Old
maybe.
iron. Yeah.
Ah,
Wow. I
interesting.
boy, the skydivers did it for me. I can't.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Skydiving
unbelievable.
scares me to begin with, but
Sure,
skydiving while
sure.
ironing. But some of these people, like this guy hanging on the side of a cliff, that's just not right. There's
Well,
something.
as they say, it's extreme. It's
Yeah,
extreme.
that's what my dad would say. Something wrong with that boy.
Yeah,
The
exactly. But you
Uh,
notice he's got a lot of ropes on him. So,
Oh, he definitely does. Yeah.
yeah,
As opposed to this guy standing on the
yeah,
top of the car, it looks like his iron is connected to the cigarette lighter by a
maybe. Yeah,
maybe that's what he's doing. Right. Exactly.
yeah.
From
cord through the
from the
window.
engine. Right. Yeah.
Unbelievable. These two people on unicycles. And here's the Extreme Ironing World Championships, just like you said. There's the promo for that. It looks like this lady took her pants off and she's ironing them while she's in a river. Yeah. So that kind
Yeah.
of maybe that answers your question, Karen. I don't know, but
Uh,
she's obviously official because she has a number on her.
number on her.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Right. Yeah. Right. Number
Interesting.
God,
43 and number one in your heart.
I'll tell you what, I thought that I had never heard of anything like this before in my life. But as I was thinking back to our college days, I was reminiscing. And I remember one time when one of the other fraternities challenged us to an extreme sport. Wasn't ironing, it was something else. I don't know. Do you remember that extreme sport?
You know what, Paul? It's so long ago. I do not. You have to help it. You have to help educate me.
Good thing we have good student records at our college at John Carroll University. So I went to look up the records, and it turns out we were challenged by another fraternity to extreme beer drinking. Now, the extreme part was that we had to be doing something extreme while we were drinking the beer, and the most extreme thing we could think of was working out. So we were doing extreme beer drinking while working out. And here's a picture of me. I believe this must be me. I wasn't. I was in much better shape later on, but I think that's me curling while lifting a beer. Now, John, of course, is much smarter than me, and he decided to be more efficient. So he came up with this idea here. He put a weight uh, directly, instead of on the bar, he put it right on the neck of a Heineken's beer. Uh, so that he could have a beer in each hand and also be doing curls with each hand. So we really trained hard for this, John. I don't know if you remember that. And then we showed up on the day and we saw that the Ikais, I think that's who the fraternity. Here's the guy that showed up to for them, and we knew we may not beat him on the beer drinking, but we certainly could work out better than this guy. And
Oh wow, yeah, wow.
I believe we won that competition as always. So there you go, extreme ironing, our sport of the
Wow.
week. Thanks again, John.
You're welcome, Paul and Karen, and audience.
Well, that means that we've reached the end of our sports segment and also the weird news portion of my segment. And that means it's time for Bluff the Co-host, everybody's favorite weird news game. Oh, I hear about Bluff the Co-host from people all around the world. They can't wait to find out. They even call me up to find out ahead of time. What are you going to be talking about? And of course I can't tell them that. So anyway, so here's how Bluff the Co-host works. I've got three stories similar to the ones we've been talking about. One big difference: those stories were real. Stories in Bluff the Co-host may be real, may be a bluff. It's up to Karen, John, and those of you playing at home to decide real or bluff. Wagering is allowed, so place your bet. John and Karen, hands on the buzzer. Let's get right to story number one. If you admire the sculptures that people make with 3D printers, but can't afford one yourself, you might want to try what a woman in China does. She creates elaborate models of buildings using nothing but her teeth and raw carrots. She says she tried white and green radishes, but they upset her stomach. She doesn't cut she doesn't cut or shape the carrots beforehand. Instead, she uses only her teeth and relies mainly on her feel, especially her tongue, to control the shape and details of the sculptures. She brushes her teeth twice a day, and her dentist checks them regularly. She has made more than 100 carrot artworks, with the most popular being an edible model of the Great Wall of China, or at least a few pounds of carrots worth. And nothing goes to waste. She cooks her sculptures when she's done and feeds the scraps to her pigs and chickens. So save your money. You too could become a 3D carrot printer. Okay, so a lady in China who creates sculptures, including sculptures of buildings, including the Great Wall of China, by chewing on carrots and assembling them into the sculpture. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll start with you.
You can find the oddest stories. Yeah, well, I'm just gonna go along with it and say it's true, but it sounds so fictitious, but true.
Okay. Karen says fictitious, it's sounding, but she's voting true. John, how about you?
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with Karen on this one. I think this is a
Good.
bluff. I mean, how how difficult would it be to actually chew a carrot and then be able to take the bits and then assemble them into some kind of sculpture? Like, what's the scale of these structures that she has? I mean, they got to be small. I don't think that they can be very large. So I just think it's just too contrived. I'm going to say it's a bluff.
Okay, all right. So John says that it sounds too contrived to create sculptures out of by chewing on carrots. Karen says it's real. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say congratulations go to Karen. That is
No,
a story.
no.
Yes, yes.
Unbelievable. Can you get us a photo? Can you get us
you
some
know,
photos of
I
this?
knew you were going to ask that, and my lovely wife, yesterday, she said, you need to start having photos of the Real Bluff, the co-host thing. And I had a photo, and I forgot to add it to our collection here. But if you Google 3D printer carrots, you'll see they're about, they're a couple feet tall.
Mhm.
John, you would not believe how elaborate she chews those carrots into. And, I know that I guess she takes little baby carrots and makes screws and things to assemble the whole thing. I don't know, but it is
Wow.
unbelievable, unbelievable. So,
Well,
yeah,
congratulations, Karen, on getting the first one right.
how about that? Yeah, so Karen's ahead 1-0. Let's get right to story number two. Most travelers go into an airport store looking for a book, some snacks, or a gift to take home. But passengers at an airport in Australia didn't know what to think when one of the cute stuffed toy animals on display started moving. It turns out that the stuffed animal was actually a real live Australian bushtail possum. Word spread fast, and the store quickly filled it with people who wanted to buy the possum. But before the manager could figure out a good price, the animal ran out the door. Luckily, the gate agents can also check in animals and manage to capture the critter. No one can figure out how it got in, but this airport's TSA agents say they won't be patting down people for hidden possums anytime soon. Okay, so an airport store, people going in looking at stuffed animals were shocked when a real possum showed up on the shelf. Real or bluff? John, we'll start with you.
Well, this is a difficult one because part of me says that can't be real. Then part of me says, we're in this competition in this show, so I'm going to say it's a true story. I'm going to say somehow a possum got into the airport gift shop and was there.
Okay. All right. Possum in the airport. John says it's true. Karen, how about you?
Well, I already know the answer because I saw this on the news. So,
I,
John, you're right.
you're right.
Okay, good.
This one was also suggested by my lovely wife. She says, "Oh, this is perfect for Bluff the co-host." And I said, "I don't know. It's on the news." "Oh, no, no, nobody saw it." So
Well, that's not true.
congratulations, Karen. John,
Thank you,
check the
Anna.
news. Possum at the airport, and they can't figure out how it got in because nobody saw it sneaking in. You know, it was a little about the size of a carrot sculpture. Was about how it was.
We can't escape the carrot sculpture discussion today,
There
right?
you go. And very cute, by the way. Very cute looking possum. So you know, you can see why people wanted to buy it. All right, so that means the score is 2-1, but points are double in round number 3. John could come roaring back and snatch victory from the jaws of defeat with a correct answer here. So let's get right to story number 3. The island of Rhodes in the Mediterranean is part of Greece and best known for the Colossus of Rhodes statue, which was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. However, visitors to the island are wondering what's happening to Rhodes today after the government announced that to promote fitness among both residents and tourists, driving will be banned on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays of the week, and everyone will be required to get around by walking, running, biking, or skipping. The new regulations are local and not under the jurisdiction of the Greek government, but the governor of Rhodes says that the rules are mandatory and violators will receive a fine for the first offense and risk having their car impounded for the next one. Most Rhodians, that's what they're called, like the idea because traffic was miserable, and many of them prefer skipping to getting around because they know they're known for their happy-go-lucky attitudes. The new regulations have only been in place for a month, and it remains to be seen if tourists abide by the rules or decide to skip visiting Rhodes. Okay. So the island of Rhodes decides to ban traffic on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and people are required to walk, run, or skip to get around. Real or bluff? Karen, back to you.
I'm going to say it's real. I don't foresee too many people skipping, but walking, running, yeah, sounds good to me. Real.
Okay. Karen says it's real. John, how about you?
I agree with Karen. I think it's real also. And especially if there's too much traffic in roads, obviously that's the reason for it. They want to be able to, alleviate the traffic jams. People can walk, run, whatever, bike, right, as
Huh?
opposed to being in an automobile. So I'm going to say it's real.
But not skipping. Would you
Oh, they
skip?
could be skipping too. They could be skipping. Why not? If they're had like
That's how they
many people
know.
can be skipping.
Yeah. They that's how you can tell if they're Rhodians or tourists, because the Rhodians are all skipping, the tourists are walking. Or
Yeah.
okay, supposedly, I don't know. Let's check. So both of you say that's a real story. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say if you're visiting Rhodes, you don't have to worry. You can rent a car. No matter what day of the week it is, that is a bluff. Rhodians love.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, Karen, congratulations again on another victory.
Well, thank you.
Wow.
I think they should pass that law. That would be a good one.
It
See a
is.
bunch of people skipping.
I
Yeah,
was thinking about Mackinac Island up in Michigan,
yeah.
where their
Right?
cars are
Yeah. Right.
completely,
Mhm.
yeah. So, but no, Rhodes likes their cars. They love it. You know how
Okay.
those Greeks are. Got to go get your gyros. So I'm sorry if I offend any of the Greeks out there. I apologize. I love euros. I love Greek food. Don't we all? We all do. So, anyway, we've reached the end of another episode of What in the World. Boy, I can't believe it. It went by so fast. I want to thank Karen Hale, our co-host, producer, media mogul at newclevelandradio.net. Thank you, Karen, for everything you do for our show. For all the great podcasts that Karen has, go to newclevelandradio.net. Check them out. If you need coaching services of many, many kinds, Karen can provide them. So check that out as well with Yes, I Can Coaching. Also, we've got links to Cleveland 13 News, our partner. So check that out as well. Then I'd also like to thank John DiNallo, my old buddy, for being a great co-host, host of What in the World of Sports, and an all-around good guy. Thanks, John.
You're welcome, Paul. It's always a lot of fun to do the show on Tuesday.
There you go. And thanks, as always, to all of you out there. We mean this honestly. That we do this show. We hope that everybody out there does it, has as much fun listening to the show as we do doing it every week. We like it so much. Once in a while, we actually do show up for rehearsals. So.
Sure we do. Yes.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, let's see who shows up next week. Okay, so again, come to newclevelandradio.net, go to your favorite podcasting platform, and this is the one we recommend, visit us on YouTube as well. You can see all the great photos that we had, especially the extreme ironing that John had this week. So visit us there. Please follow us on YouTube. That's how we find out how many listeners and viewers we have. Send me a message on Facebook. Send Karen a message on Facebook if you've got some story ideas. As always, my wife can just walk out of the living room and say, hey, I got an idea. But if you have one, please send me a message on Facebook. That's the great way to do it. And we will definitely credit you for it. On that note, it is still cold in Cleveland, Ohio, so I'm not going outside. I hope it's warm where you are. And anything big happening this weekend? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be a quiet weekend.
Good.
Although, tomorrow I'm celebrating my husband's first birthday in heaven. I'm not sure what to do for that. So if anybody has any ideas, because I can't bake him a cake.
Light him a candle.
Light him a candle.
Oh,
I will do that.
Light him a candle.
Okay, everybody. Light a candle tonight.
Okay.
Everybody.